Hi there, welcome to this interesting video looking at some of the latest news in regards to the healthcare CEO, which you could call it assassination, in the open, even though it was captured on CCTV. The mystery continues as in who's responsible. There is also a reference to a man questioned in Pennsylvania over a gun similar to the one used in the killing of the CEO, which we'll take a look at in a second. But first of all, we'll take a look at this article first, and the title reads, Police questioning man with fake IDs and suppressor in Pennsylvania in connection with healthcare CEO. So it appears that both of these articles may well link together. So feel free to listen in if you want to. If you want to pause the video to analyse any of the language, you can. It says police are questioning a man in Altoona, Pennsylvania in connection with the fatal shooting nearly a week ago of a top US healthcare executive on a busy New York street. Two law enforcement officials familiar with the matter tell CNN. The fact that it was on a busy New York City street in public in the open, and there would be people nearby and passing by, and the individual just casually decided to pull the trigger a couple of times as well, without much care or worry, and still not found, I guess, till this day. It's still quite fresh, but to just pull that off in public could be considered quite shocking. Did the person feel invincible at the time? Did they care about the consequences after, or do they know that they can get away with it? Time will tell. But working off of a tip, police stopped a person travelling by bus and recovered a suppressor, a device that muffles sound of firearms, of course, and a number of false IDs. There's a bit dodgy that. That man is now in custody and being questioned. Development comes amid an intense search for whoever fatally shot the United Healthcare CEO known as Brian Thompson. Now, without knowing that much about it, I'm just thinking, could the person that shot Brian maybe been affected by healthcare in the past? A family member or a loved one that may have passed away or suffered, and this individual is trying to get revenge, possibly. It says authorities have known what the suspect looks like, but not who or where he is. Through glimpses of his unmasked face, his movements through the country's largest city, and the belongings police say he discarded, he seems almost familiar, but remains a mystery, as it's worded there. And I believe there was some CCTV camera footage, like a side-by-side comparison of two individuals, one with a mask and the other one not smiling. And there's been a bit of a debate online and through TikTok where some say it's completely different people and others believe it's the same. The public too have seen the suspect in surveillance photos and videos, including one of them pointing the weapon at Thompson's back, and as he continues to evade capture in the December 4th killing outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel. The suspect was believed to have left New York City on an interstate bus, police officials said, after video cameras captured him entering the George Washington Bridge bus station on 178th Street, but not leaving. Here are some key other developments. A partial fingerprint and DNA recovered during the search have so far not yielded matches when compared against law enforcement databases. According to a law enforcement official, the fingerprint was recovered from a purported burner phone thought to belong to the suspect, and the DNA from a water bottle and energy bar wrapper the suspect is said to have bought. So, in terms of a burner phone, what exactly was that used for, and who communicating with? To say what was going to happen, to make a call afterwards and confirm that the killing has been successful? Police released new photos of the suspect in the backseat of a taxi and wearing a jacket whilst walking on the street. In both, he's wearing a hood and a face mask. A backpack believed to be the suspect was recovered Friday in Central Park. Law enforcement source said it contained money from the Monopoly board game. I believe I saw a clip or some reference to that on TikTok, I think. Law enforcement source told CNN and a Tommy jacket brand. Law enforcement officials briefed on the matter said Police, did not find the weapon used in the shooting in their search Sunday of a lake in Central Park. Law enforcement officials told CNN after searching the park's iconic boathouse and Basada fountain a day prior. Also still missing is an electric bike the suspect rode towards Central Park, according to surveillance images released by authorities. Given the suspect's missteps so far and mistakes he could make during the manhunt, learning his identity will likely help determine patterns that lead to his eventual capture, experts told CNN. With mounting clues and likely hundreds of authorities searching for him, how much longer can he avoid getting caught? You're bound to make mistakes. Yeah, that can happen, of course. A determination of the suspect's identity should come soon, former FBI profiler said. O'Toole, interesting name, in quotes, "I'm thinking we're going to know who this is within a matter of a few more days. If that," she told CNN, "he's completely outnumbered. With that kind of manpower behind their efforts, they're going to come up with the information that identifies him." I guess the other factor is more effort and more resources will be used in a case like this because of who was taking out a higher power individual, a CEO, a well-known person. If it's just a random member of the general public, would it be the same level of proactiveness, I wonder? Why finding the suspected CEO killer is harder than you might think. The suspect made missteps before and after the attack that could lead authorities closer to finding him, experts say. The ability to stand up against that kind of an investigation, one person can't do it. No matter how arrogant you are, O'Toole said, you're bound to make mistakes. Some of the suspect's actions, such as pulling his mask down on camera and leaving behind inscribed shell casings that may point to a motive, a burn affair and a partial fingerprint on a water bottle, have only added to the clues left behind. So is this killer recklessly doing it or leaving clues behind on purpose, trying to play a game, play with the authorities? Police have also traced his movements before the shooting via a Greyhound bus originating in Atlanta and bound for New York City. The thing that works against the shooter is that law enforcement will get better, but the shooter can't go back and undo what he's already done, O'Toole said. The shooter appears to have perhaps only practiced such a killing before rather than being an experienced assassin, O'Toole said. Leaving shell casings or monopoly money behind for authorities would not typically align with the actions of a killer who wanted to blend back into oblivion, she said. But if you're talking about monopoly money, not even real money, it sounds like they're trying to play a game, mess about. I believe there was the CCTV footage which showed the killer taking out the CEO, and it wasn't just a one-shot clean kill, as maybe what a more experienced assassin would do. So is it the first time this individual has killed someone? Maybe. Police continue to look into whether words found on the casings, delay, deny, defend, said NYPD Chief Detective Josie Kenney, may point to a motive. A 2010 book critiquing the insurance industry is titled Delay, Deny, Defend, a common description of its tactics. Minimizing the number of actions and fugitive takes before and after a crime is crucial to avoid getting caught, said Peter Young, a former FBI fugitive who evaded capture for more than 7 years on terrorism charges related to releases of animals from fur farms. It sounds like this person did not adhere to that, Young told CNN. If he was stopping at Starbucks, that sounds like an unnecessary risk. Under pressure and running out of options, after several days of evading capture by the FBI, New York Police Department and other agencies, the psychological pressure of being on the run and the focus of a widespread search could lead to errors. It would be absolutely overwhelming and there's nothing that he can do about it, and this is where he will make mistakes, she said. In the shoes of the shooter right now, he is dealing with emotions, consequences that I don't think he anticipated at all. Well, what about the leaving items behind though? Was that anticipated or not? It's possible the suspect could lose the critical thinking skills needed to strategically evade capture under the mounting pressure, the expert said. Of course, if it's in a densely populated area with lots of CCTV cameras monitoring and police presence too, it's going to be a lot harder. But then again, if the person was familiar with the area, let's just put it that way, they might know the best routes and where to go, back streets, and any possibility going underground? I wonder. His options are getting fewer and fewer and fewer. And on top of that, his ability to make a good decision is deteriorating. The reality that he can never go back to a normal life the way it was before last week, all of those can result in very poor decision making, she added. What do we have here? A backpack that may belong to the suspect is found Friday in the Central Park area. So there you go, you can see the light shining upon it. As for the condition of it, doesn't seem that damaged. How the suspect's identity will help investigators find him. As investigators zero in on the suspect and his identity, they will be able to examine details about his life that could be crucial to the case. Retired NYPD captain describes unique weapon that may have been used in the CEO shooting. So it was a firearm, and I think it was called Garand Thumb, if that's the YouTube channel, that was showing like examples of firearms, handguns, pistols suppressed, which could have been used. An example of an alternative to a modern day well rod, where you have to twist the back, cock it, and then push it back, and then twist again to lock. But the actions of reloading that single shot, whilst it's suppressed, it just wouldn't. The action wasn't the same as in the CCTV footage. The person would like pull it back, and then at one point tap it, and you wouldn't tap like a well rod type firearm. As for another type of handgun, maybe when you pull it back, you could argue and say that the shooter wasn't exactly experienced in how they took the shot and how many shots he actually took. There's that. But let's just see what else we've got here in terms of behavior. You start looking at, where does he work? Where does he go after work? Does he work out in the gym? Does he walk his family dog? Does he actually have a family, first of all? It's really difficult for us to break every pattern of behavior that we depend on in our lives. So eventually you default to going into Starbucks to get your coffee, or you default to getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and going for a run, she added. Morning before the shooting, the suspect was spotted ordering a bottle of water and 2 energy bars from Starbucks. Are they the energy bars that were found afterwards, the wrappers? New photos released early Sunday by FBI and NYPD showed the hooded suspect wearing dark clothing while sitting in the back of a taxi, his face partially covered in a blue mask. Now, I don't know if it will show the images or what. If I take off the reader, are there any images there? No, doesn't seem to be. That's a shame. But heading over here, man questioned in Pennsylvania over a similar gun used. The person drawing the interest in the investigators in Altoona was found with a gun similar to the one used to kill Brian Thompson. This must be to do with a silencer as well. Questioning a man. Attention because he was found with a gun similar. Thompson was gunned down in front of the New York Hilton Midtown, about 280 miles from Altoona, by a masked assailant who approached from behind, so kind of cowardly as well. The killer opened fire at around 6:45 a.m, fairly early. Surveillance footage showed before fleeing on foot and then on a bike into Central Park. Authorities said the last footage of the alleged gunman put him at the bus depot in Upper Manhattan, police said. Thompson's slaying sent shockwaves throughout the corporate and healthcare worlds, raising questions about appropriate security for top-level executives. The shooting also exposed a deep, ugly resentment against private healthcare companies as social media feeds were flooded with posts celebrating or at least justifying Thompson's slaying. And yeah, you go onto TikTok, you will see quite a few comments like that. I guess there'll be for and against arguments. Obviously, still a killing is a killing, and against the law, it's not a good thing. The act of shooting and approaching the person behind the back, considered a little bit cowardly. But to try and understand the motive in the first place, could it well be because the shooter had an experience in the past with someone that they knew, a loved one, and they ended up dying because of this healthcare or a form of it, gone wrong, being denied, not working out, issues, limitations, restrictions, and they wanted to kind of get their revenge in some way, take away what they've lost, take someone else away, maybe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I just wanted to have a look at some of this news only because it's quite recent and it's kind of a mystery as well. So thanks for watching.